Here is some information on the French past tense, or the passé composé. This lecture is going to include an overview of both the passé composé with avoir and the passé composé with être. So remember, most verbs in the passé composé take avoir. So the first thing you need to do is remember how to conjugate avoir. So you have j'ai, tu as, il a, nous avons, vous avez, and ils ont. The next thing you need to do is add your past participle. For most verbs, for ER verbs, you take off the ER in the infinitive and add E accent aigu. For IR verbs, you take off the IR and add I. And for RE verbs, you take off the RE and add U. That works for most verbs. However, you'll notice on the screen that there are quite a few irregular verbs. These aren't all of them. These are just the most commonly used ones. You may want to pause at this time and make sure you have these written down somewhere in your notes. Here are some exercises for you to try. You may also want to pause this and jot these down now. But I'm going to move on to the passé composé with être. So the first thing you need to do is remember how to conjugate être. Je suis, tu es, il est, nous sommes, vous êtes, and ils sont. An easy way to remember which verbs take être is to remember the acronym Dr. and Mrs. P. Vandertramp. There's a song that will help you remember it, and I'm going to sing it now. Devenir, revenir, monter, rentrer, sortir, partir, venir, aller, naître, descendre, entrer, rester, tomber, retourner, arriver, mourir, passer. I did not have the song when I was in high school, and I would always forget one of the R verbs. But ever since I've learned it, since I've been teaching, I've never forgotten one of the verbs. So although you sound a little silly, may I suggest that you just learn the song. It's the easiest way to go. Now, of these verbs, there are 3 that are really irregular. Well, 5, but venir becomes venu, mourir becomes mort, naître becomes né, and then remember you have devenir, which becomes devenu, and revenir, which becomes revenu. So if you remember these 3, you probably remember these other 2 as well. The rest of the verbs follow the regular past participle rules. So for example, if it ends in an ER, it's going to be E accent aigu. If it ends in an IR, it's going to be I. And if it ends in RE, it's going to be U. Now, one thing you need to remember, and this is the important thing about the passé composé with être, the past participles must agree with the subject. So you have, for example, elle est sortie. She went out. Now, because it's elle, you need to add an E at the end of sortie. Nous sommes venus. We came. Again, because it's new and it's plural, venu must end with an S. Okay, here are 5 sentences to practice. Bonne chance!